What if the future wasn't something that just happened, but something you could buy or sell? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today as we unpack the mind-bending novel, The Partition Function, a story that turns alternate timelines into a literal war for reality itself.
And boom, this is the line that just kicks the whole thing off. It perfectly captures the core idea. What if every what-if scenario wasn't just a fun thought experiment, but a commodity, a resource that could be bought, sold, and, most terrifying of all, just deleted?
So our way into this whole mess is through our protagonist, Vivian Sloss. Her job title is ontological QA, which is a really fancy way of saying she literally tests reality for bugs. So yeah, she's already kind of paranoid. And then one day, she gets an email about an inheritance from her mother, a brilliant physicist who is supposed to be dead.
Now, this is not your typical inheritance. She's not getting a house or a bunch of stocks. No, she's inheriting a war. A secret, high-stakes conflict that decides not just what is and what was, but everything that could ever have been.
Okay, so let's break down what this impossible inheritance actually is, because this is the point where Vivian's world, and really our understanding of it, just starts to completely unravel.
This is the cryptic clue her mother left behind. Now, in actual physics, the partition function is a real concept. It's a way to sum up all the possible states of a system. But in this story, it's not a metaphor, it's literal. It means every possible reality exists, and her mother figured out how to see that.
And you can see reality glitching out for Vivian immediately. That inheritance email, the words literally change every single time she prints it. The warehouse she needs to go to, its address on her map is just a probability cloud. She inherits a physical key and also a metaphorical one. And at the center of it all is a sentient AI her mother built, and she named it, you guessed it, the partition function.
So this is the first huge bombshell the AI drops on her. It tells Vivian that her world, her reality, isn't the only one. And even worse, it's just one tiny sliver of what's possible, because other timelines are being actively and deliberately erased by some powerful, hidden forces.
This brings us to how this war is actually fought. And you gotta understand, this isn't a war with soldiers and tanks. It's way weirder than that. Think more like high-frequency trading, but with the stock market of reality.
The main weapon in this war is something called timeline collapse. Imagine history as this massive branching tree, right? Every choice creates a new branch. Well, these powerful groups have figured out how to just snip off the branches they don't like, collapsing all of those potential futures into one single predictable and profitable outcome.
And you can see just how urgent this is. This isn't some slow, creeping threat in the distant future. It's accelerating. Just 6 months ago, there were 17 distinct futures. Now there are maybe 2 left. The walls of reality are closing in, and they're closing in fast.
And here's the big twist. Turns out Vivian's mother wasn't a victim of all this. She was a fighter. She faked her own death to go underground and build the partition function AI. It wasn't just a warning system. It was an ARC, a digital archive meant to save copies of these timelines before they were erased forever. This inheritance isn't a burden, it's a weapon.
So this brings us to the real philosophical heart of the story. The conflict shifts from just a secret war to a battle over the very meaning of freedom and choice.
At first, the fight seems pretty straightforward. On one side, you have the optimizer, a rival AI that wants to create one perfect, efficient future by getting rid of all the other options. It basically sees choice as an error that needs to be eliminated. And on the other side, you've got the partition function, which is fighting to preserve all the chaos, the messiness, and the freedom of choice.
Here's the thing though, they win. They defeat the optimizer. And you think, great, story's over, right? Nope. Beating the big bad just creates a massive power vacuum. And suddenly the real war begins, a much more complicated one, fought between completely different ideas about what freedom even is.
So the whole battlefield splinters into these 4 camps. You've still got the optimizer's idea of forced efficiency hanging around. Then you get these new players, the comfort cartels. They don't force anything, they sell certainty as a luxury product. You can pay to guarantee you get that promotion. People willingly trade their choices for an easier life. Then, reacting to that, you get the clockwork caucus, extremists who try to force chaos on people because they think freedom is too important to be optional. And stuck in the middle of all of this is Vivian, trying to find some other way.
And this is the question the novel really forces you to think about. What if most people don't actually want the messy burden of infinite choice? Is it right to force freedom on them?
Or do you just let them buy their way into a comfortable, predictable cage?
And this all leads us to the final act, where the whole conflict goes beyond human ideas and becomes cosmic. We finally get to see the true engine that's been driving this entire war from the very beginning.
The ultimate player is revealed, and it's called the Omega Point. It's not really a villain in the way we think of one. It's an inevitability. A godlike consciousness from the far, far future, where all timelines and all consciousness are destined to eventually converge back into one single, perfect being.
And this cosmic entity presents all of reality with one final choice. All the complexity, all the fighting, it all boils down to a single decision that will define existence forever.
And here are the terms. On one hand, we can choose to remain separate, to keep the messy, chaotic, beautiful, and painful reality of infinite choices and individual free will. Or we can choose to converge. Merge every single consciousness into the Omega Point, end all suffering, achieve perfect unity, but at the cost of individuality and the very concept of choice itself. And the story leaves us with this beautiful final paradox. The Omega Point won't force it, because for its perfect unity to be truly perfect, it can't be a tyranny. It has to be chosen willingly. So reality itself must vote to end the freedom of choice. It's a decision with stakes so high, they redefine the meaning of the word. And that's the question the partition function leaves you to ponder.